Welcome, everybody, to Dave's Corner Garage. We welcome you on Facebook Live, and you can go to facebook.com/Dave's Corner Garage, and you will see us. We have a great one-hour show for you with a great panel of automotive experts, and we're going to turn it over to Dave Redinger, who hosts the show, and he'll introduce everybody. We invite you down for any questions, no matter where you are at the MTCC, and we welcome any texts that you want to send in. Any questions that you have right now?
Hello!
There you go. Dave's got his oldest audience right now. Here's Dave Redinger. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. It's Dave's Corner Garage. We've actually been on the air on AM 740 19 years. So that's a long time for any radio show to be on the air. What we do is actually bring the experts down that are in the know. We'll give you honest answers to the questions you may have. So if you've got a question about buying a car, having a classic car that needs insurance, buying a newspaper from Norris over there. Lease Busters, is Andy's here from Lease Busters. If you want to get out of the lease, Andy will explain that to you. Trevor is here from Krown, who's one of our original sponsors, and I really got to thank you out loud. 19 years we've been together. We sold a lot of undercoating. And one of our newest sponsors is Car Generator. Jonathan is here from Car Generator's actual inventor. Jonathan was on Dragon's Den. If you notice his shirt where it says Dragon's Den, he actually got 2 dragons to help him with his business. So we'll talk about Car Generator. Trevor is from Krown Body Maintenance. It's a company that prevents your car from corroding. And actually, it's such a green product that your car will actually last forever. I've been in the car business for almost 50 years, and I've thrown cars away because the engines went, but the bodies were still in great condition. Trevor, how's the afternoon?
Howdy, David.
So here's a question for you. When you apply Krown and you actually install the product, you're actually drilling holes in the cars. And some people don't understand why. Please tell us.
Yeah. In many cases, the only proper way to access all of the body panels is to provide additional holes. So probably the biggest question we get is, well, why do you drill holes when there are factory holes that are there? The fact is, the factory holes are there for a couple of reasons. Usually it's to be able to facilitate certain wires that are run in there during the manufacturing process. Some of them use etching acids that are put in the vehicle, and they drain out of those holes. But they don't allow us to access all of the vehicle panels. And so because we put a lifetime warranty on the vehicle, we need to make sure that we can access it.
So you're actually, when you're buying a new car and I take it down to your store, you'll cover it for life against corrosion?
Yeah, if you come in within 30 days of your anniversary date, have it sprayed every year, you're going to get a locked-in price for the life of the vehicle, and we'll warranty it for the life of the vehicle.
What always amazes me is that it's not expensive. An average is what, $150 is an average spray?
$130.
$130. And a truck is what?
$149.
Right, because I've seen them do trucks. They actually remove the taillights to get inside the box. And I've seen them open the hoods and get under and drill holes. It's really a fascinating process. And it works because it locks off the oxygen, correct?
Yeah, the real key is that rust is caused by moisture. It's accelerated by salt. So this winter's a perfect example of the temperature change. The more moisture that's out there, the more metal will corrode. So what we're trying to do is to create a thin barrier to repel moisture. A little bit like when you when you lubricate your skin, you may put Vaseline or a lotion on it. What it's designed to do is to keep moisture in. Well, imagine Krown working just the opposite way to keep the moisture out.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. There's some products like Kleenex where the product actually becomes the name of the service. And Krown is there. People just say, I'm going to have my car crowned.
Yeah. Well, when you've been around, since 1986, we've got a very good market in Ontario and continuing to grow. Probably our biggest challenge now is being able to keep up with the amount of work that we get, especially in the fall of the year.
Yeah, you were saying that you're so busy. I'd like to talk about the system of your company, which is a co-op. Your company is not really a franchisee, but everybody that is a Krown installer is part of that company, correct?
Yeah, that probably is the most unique thing about our company. We've got a great product, we got a great process, but we really are a people company, and so we're set up not like a franchise. Our dealers that we have don't pay into the company some royalty of what they do, because a lot of our businesses are owned by families. You know, they're mom and pop shops. But, you know, now we've exceeded 350 worldwide.
Wow.
And so we're set up a little bit like Home Hardware. Our dealers own the company. So in essence, I've got 350 bosses that I work for. The great part is I get to tell them what to do.
So you're the president of 350 presidents.
Exactly. And the reason it was set up that way was to allow the offering that's going to the consumer to be the best possible offering we could, because sometimes companies get in situations where, because of the way the business is structured and run, is that one, you could be bought out or taken over. And a lot of people have invested, certainly in the early days, their life savings
That's right.
to get into a business. So our president made sure that their investment would be protected, that it wouldn't be taken over by somebody, and that the company would work in the best interest of everybody that invested in the business.
Yeah, and the guy that's spraying your car is the guy that owns the company. So obviously he's going to do a better job than somebody who's just working for somebody.
Yeah, and it does impact, because what somebody does in Scarborough affects the owner in Pickering and Whitby and different areas like that.
I have a question. Somebody emailed in. Hello, Dave, over here.
I was looking for you.
All right, the question is to Trevor. Being the lovely time of the year that it is right now, middle of February, when is the ideal time to rust-proof your car?
About a month and a half from now. You know, as soon as we get into the early spring of the year, when the temperature starts rising and the snow goes down, it starts to warm up. That's when most corrosion occurs. About 75% corrosion occurs in the spring of the year, because that's when it generates the most moisture. So that's the absolute best time of the year to do it. The fact is, if you do it once a year like good maintenance, you'll protect your vehicle. But the absolute best time of the year is in the spring.
Okay, great.
You know, just quickly on top of that, if you live in a condo, it's spring every morning. I mean, like you
You
come
don't
in
live
and
in my condo. It's not spring every morning.
Yeah, but everything melts, right?
I know it does.
So, I mean, if you don't do that, your car's going to rust faster.
You know what the challenge is, and I'll give you an example that happens here in the city of Toronto, is one of the vehicles that's most susceptible to corrosion is transit buses. And the reason is that in the winter, these vehicles go out and they operate 12, 14, 16 hours a day. So for some reason, their customers want heat put on in the buses, so they heat them up when they're outside when it's 10 below. And then at the end of the day, they bring them in and they wash them, and then they park them inside. And so what happens is they're actually starting the corrosion process each night.
Each night, yeah.
Each night. And that's one of the challenges in maintaining equipment that needs to be on the road for 12 to 18 years.
Love it. Krown is actually sprayed on in an oil form, right? It has no solvents, I understand, but you do spray it in oil. How does that work?
Well, the oil is actually our base of our product. So it's not an actual oil spray. It's we have a chemical inhibiting package that actually bonds to metal to do the rust inhibiting, but the oil is the carrier to get it there. So sometimes where you see you'll have a little residual dripping, so to speak. Really what it is, it's the oil. But what we use is what's called a white petroleum. So it's very much like the base stock of Vaseline would be, right? And so what happens is, so it's a very pure product. And the product is blended much like you would take any kind of additives. It's heated up. When it's heated properly, then basically the product itself bonds together. And that's why heat's so important in our application.
So we actually heat the product before we spray it on.
We do, because it's a little bit like when you're soldering copper pipe, right? When you've got solder, to get it to suck into the joints, right, you heat up the joint and it draws it in. Metal's the same way. Metal has pores in it. And so when the product's warm, it'll actually creep and penetrate and actually go into the pores of metal.
Question, just emailed in.
Yes.
Typically, everybody's got a busy day. They're running around like crazy during the week. How long should they want to know, how long does it take for me to get my car crowned?
Well, if I'm doing it for them, it'll take about 3 hours. But if you go to somebody who's...
I'm glad you didn't look at me like that either.
No. Somebody who's trained, normally most vehicles will do in about an hour.
Okay.
It depends how many technicians are working on it, and certain vehicles just takes significantly more time. Like there's some vehicles that are out there on the market that have a lot of boxed in sections, and so to be able to access them takes a lot more time. Minivans, pickup trucks, because of removing the rear taillights, take more time. And then usually anybody driving a BMW takes more time because they're just fussier with it. And
They
want
probably
us to,
have more time too.
Yeah.
So once my car is crowned, generally how long should I wait until I get my car washed?
Well, we're actually going to wash it for you right after we're done the application. So
Very nice. Lunch too?
Yeah, lunch too.
Very nice of you.
Yeah. You know what it is because it's not designed to adhere to the paint. It's
Okay.
not there to protect the paint. And so a big part of consumers' view of any type of service is how clean their vehicle is when it leaves a shop. And so, we started washing vehicles back in the late 80s. It used to be that the thought was when you did rust protection, you couldn't wash a vehicle or you had to drive down a dusty road, and that's what would kind of soak up the product. But washing a vehicle is really important, so we do it right after the application.
All right, great. Over to you, Dave.
Okay. So one of the things that I had a black Kia, and I had it crowned.
Uh-oh, here we go.
In
This
the
is down in
summer, it
West
started
Virginia.
To drip. And you were telling me that was a good thing.
It is a good thing. The reason is you think about it, if you've ever touched something metal when the sun's on it, right?
Yeah.
It's very hot. Well, the thing is that although we only use, say, take a Honda Civic, we'd probably only use about 2.5 liters of product to spray the entire vehicle. But what happens is when the metal heats up, it actually activates the product and it'll start to creep and penetrate.
So it creeps.
Right? Because the product doesn't dry up, it doesn't set up, right? So the importance of it is that you need it to remain liquid. One of the reasons is a big part of our application is on electrical to displace moisture. We make it for a number of different manufacturers. One of the main reasons is to draw it away from terminals and prevent them from corroding due to moisture.
Yeah, people don't realize that with all these electronics, they're all running at 5 volts. And that if you have any corrosion at all, where the wire turns green, you've got a serious issue. So spraying it actually protects the electronics.
Exactly.
I love it. Krown is
Krown.com.
Krown.com. And how many dealers in Canada?
260.
And in the States now?
45.
And you have in Europe?
22.
A game show here.
I love it, yeah.
How many in South Africa? Australia?
None.
Okay.